New on CBS Sports HQ, UFC President Dana White post-fight at UFC 250 in Vegas. Let's listen in.
Clark and Formiga. Bonuses tonight were all performance. No fight of the night. We got O'Malley, Sterling, Garbrandt, and Perez. They all won $50,000. Congratulations. And who's first?
Dana. Amanda Nunes obviously had a pretty thorough performance tonight. Curious just kind of what you thought about Amanda's performance and what you do with her next when she's just seemingly on this higher tier than anybody right now.
Yeah, no, this card was awesome. And it was right now, John Jones, Jorge Masvidal, you know, I feel you. It's not like I'm going, holy shit, this is crazy. This is nuts. Nothing is crazy and nuts right now because everything is crazy and nuts right now. So, on a certain level, I totally understand it and get it.
Masvidal, he spoke to ESPN earlier tonight, and he said he laid out a statistic that fighters get paid 18% of the revenue generated by the UFC. Are you able to address that, whether that's accurate and whether that's a number that could change, that he's saying fighters should get more of the revenue that's generated?
Being the financial wizard that he is, I'm assuming his numbers are correct. Here's the thing about Masvidal. We just signed a new deal with Masvidal. Masvidal just signed a new 8-fight deal. He's got 7 fights left on his deal, you know? And my people were working with him and trying to get a deal done with him when he already has a deal. John Jones has like 7 fights left on his deal. He just signed a new deal less than a year ago. So guys, you can say whatever you want about it. I have a deal. We just did a deal with both guys. This isn't one of those scenarios where like they've got some 3-year-old deal and it's like, oh man, that was 3 years ago. I'm in a much different place than this was months ago.
Dana, Jim Greasehaber, cage side seat. Just a question about leading from the front. You know, I was talking to Dave Lockett earlier about you guys are leading from the front in the sports world. You're the first to do it. You're the only ones doing it. You're taking a lot of shots doing it. But you're succeeding in so many ways. Can you talk about that mentality to lead from the front? You're vulnerable, people taking shots at you, but you're also leading that charge and giving people what they need in a lot of ways right now in a tough world that we live in.
Well, thank you, sir. I don't know if that was a question or a compliment, but I appreciate it.
Want your statement on that, what it feels like to be leading from the front. You know, the bullets are coming at you, but you're also leading the way.
It's a catch-22. It feels great, and it's a nightmare at the same time. Let's put it that way. So I'll tell you, I said it 2 minutes ago, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. And I was here when we bought this thing, and this thing was dead, and we had to literally get people interested in it. So to tell you that this is the hardest thing I've ever done, that's a hell of a statement.
And you still get up every morning with that same piss and vinegar that you've always had from day one?
I do, yeah. I don't know how much of this shit I got left in me, man, but I'm still doing it, yeah.
Hey, Dana, is it time to do Valentina versus Amanda again?
For the 3rd time?
No.
Amanda won twice?
No interest in that at all?
No, I don't think that's the right fight for Valentina. First of all, and if you look at Amanda, she's the queen of 2 divisions right now, 35, right, and 45. And I think what you'd see before that is a couple more wins from Weili, and that fight happening before you would see the Amanda fight again.
I don't know if you saw Dan Le Batard declined your offer of $250,000, said that's too low, and he's going to come at you with a counter on it.
Let me tell you what, the last thing anybody wants to see is 2 50-year-old idiots fighting, okay? One thing that we've all learned from the fight business is nothing good comes out of 50-year-olds fighting. Except there's a load of people that love to see me get knocked out, and there's even more people that would love to see Dan Le Batard get knocked out. So this isn't a negotiation. I put up 250. What's he putting up? We're negotiating? You said you want to fight me for charity. I said, okay, I'll put up $250,000. We'll do it. You're lowballing me like all your fighters, and there will be a negotiation. No, idiot. There won't be any negotiation. You want to fight? Let's fight. We'll do it.
Did you see Jorge Masvidal offered to train him?
Yeah, I did. He's out of work, so it makes sense.
Just going back to the Conor thing, you said that you're not surprised anything can happen right now. But did you hear from him personally about that, or was that?
No, that one of my people grabbed me and showed it to me on social media. But that's Conor. You know how Conor works. That's how he does things. But listen, Conor. There's been a handful of people that have made this thing really fun for me, and Conor's one of those guys. And I said the other day to somebody, when you look at the star power that Conor McGregor, the star that he became, he introduced this thing globally to people in places that had never seen it before or been interested in it. And, every star that we've ever had has contributed a piece to building the sport and building this brand. Conor's been fun. It's been awesome. And he's got... I heard some information today, which is funny that it was today. It's because of this deal that I'm working on. But Proper 12 whiskey has sold an obscene amount of liquor, And I don't know what his financial situation is with that thing, but I would imagine he owns a good piece of it. Conor McGregor's not going to need any money anytime soon, He loves the fight. He's passionate about it, and he's got an incredible fighter IQ. But whatever his reason is, when a guy said, my feelings on retirement. When you say you want to retire, don't worry about it. You do your thing, man. And it's all good.
Thanks, Dana.
Dana, I want to congratulate you on a fantastic event, my first one in person.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Good to see you as well. And let's start with Amanda. I know you've spoken about it a little bit already, but the question is, who is next for her? Obviously, motherhood is going to come first, possibly, before she fights again. But now she's actually fought and made history. You said it's not going to be Shevchenko. That doesn't make sense again. Are there any names that spring to mind or that she's even mentioned?
Not off the top of my head. You know how I am. There's so much stuff going on right now. That's the last thing that I'm thinking about. And she looked so good tonight. I'm just focused on that performance and her fight. But she's at number 8 right now, right? 3 more and she ties Anderson Silva. A few more after that and she ties John Jones. So it's going to depend on how high she wants to set this bar and how much longer she wants to keep fighting. Because she, too, has made enough money where she can retire if she wanted to.
And Felicia Spencer tonight, she showed incredible toughness. I think we'll all agree with that. And the commentators, as per a couple of weeks ago, were talking about should someone have thrown in the towel? Should the ref at any point have stopped it? Were you worried for her at any point, or you're just sort of praising the toughness of Felicia?
Yeah, no, listen, that woman is one of the toughest human beings that I have ever seen in my life. I actually was praying somebody was going to stop that fight before the start of the 5th round. And she's tough. She's tough, and you can't take anything away from her going 5 rounds with the best to ever do it.
And the bantamweights were on fire tonight. Obviously, Aljamain Sterling, Cody Garbrandt, and then Sugar Sean O'Malley as well. You've said this is a kid we should look out for. What do you got to say about his performance?
Garbrandt's knockout was incredible. The timing, the speed, the time left on the clock, everything about that made that one of the best knockouts I've ever seen in my career. And Sugar Sean O'Malley fought a real guy tonight, a real veteran of the sport, a guy that was a really big test for him. And he passed that test with flying colors, so I'm excited for what's next for him, too.
So Aljamain will fight the winner of Aldo and Yan. That's obviously
correct.
Going to be, in a month or so's time?
Yeah, I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
So,
Fight Island, though.
So how much longer before...
So July.
July. So
those guys will fight in July.
He gets his shot, because obviously they then need to do stuff. Aljamain.
Oh, I have no idea.
No idea.
Yeah.
Okay. And I want to ask you about the welterweight division as well. I know you've addressed Masvidal and wanting more money on that kind of stuff, but I want to focus on the title fight, Usman. You said it could be Burns, but we had Leon Edwards on our show at BT Sport tonight saying that he's been in some talks that he could in fact get that next title shot. So who's the front runner?
We'll see what happens.
Ooh, not giving anything away.
Nope.
But what are the divisions that excite you the most right now? Because obviously we've talked about bantamweights tonight, the welterweight division. There's a lot of moving parts as well. They seem to be the front runners.
Of
the
what?
Division that excites you the most right now, where they seem to have the most...
Oh, God, all these divisions right now. The 170-pound division tonight, We're talking about hopefully getting this thing done this summer for Stipe and Cormier 3, which is a fight that I'm excited to see. A lot of fun stuff. And I'm excited to see Whaley fight again.
Thanks, Dana. Great to talk to you.
Thank you.
Hey, Dana. Just to go into, O'Malley tonight even said he wanted more money and he was not happy. And so when you're looking at, Conor and Jones and Masvidal and all this, not one individual, but just collectively, does that do anything to the brand when you have all these people and all these notable names making those kind of comments?
Yeah, we've been here many times before. This isn't the first rodeo.
With one guy, not...
No, that's not true.
One time. Right?
Not true. We've been here before. This has happened to us before. More than once, too.
Why do you think it's popping up at this time? Like, what is it causing it right now?
How the hell do I know?
Well, I mean, you're talking to the guy, so I assume you would...
I'm not talking to him. I have no idea why this is going on.
And then
So you want me to tell you why this is going on right now?
Well,
I love you. You know I love you, but that is a really stupid question.
No, it's not stupid.
Such a stupid question.
You know what you're talking...
We're in a pandemic and the world is going crazy right now, and all these guys are like, well, I want more money too, I want more money. But let me tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to predict the future here. Most of the media in this country is going to get laid off in the next several months, and that's going to be a big, and everybody wants more money, and nobody wants to get laid off, and all these crazy things are going on in this world right now. Nothing is normal right now. Everything is crazy. And I am the only guy that is pulling off sporting events right now.
Right.
I
get that,
but you're asking me a question I don't know. I can't tell you what's going to happen in the next month with my business. I don't know. I don't give a.
Right.
I'm doing what I can do to keep the bus on the highway here, or the train on the tracks, or whatever you want to call it. I don't give a. If people don't want to fight, you don't have to fight. If you're afraid of COVID-19, stay home. If you're, whatever your deal is, you don't have to do it. I couldn't explain to you anything that's going on planet Earth right now, and neither can anybody else.
Did you, this thing from Conor seemingly out of, he's retired before, but had you seen this coming? Like, had you had any conversation with him that would indicate he might be planning to do something like this?
He's been wanting to fight. He's frustrated because he wants to fight. I'm sure that is a piece of it.
And the no fans, you can't have him fight? Is that essential?
No. It's not that we can't have him fight, but who do you want to fight right now?
Okay.
You want to fight Ferguson? I mean, you want to fight, he had called out Masvidal. Okay. Who do you fight right now? And where do we fight Conor McGregor right now? Fight Island isn't even up and running till July. Mm-hmm. So if you look at all the problems to run a business like this, multiply it by a million.
Right.
And that's where we are right now.
And then
and there's a lot of other that goes on behind the scenes right now that, it's a wacky time to be the first guy putting on live sports when a lot of fucking people who are nutty as hell didn't want you to.
You put on a show headlined by two women during a pandemic, and this wasn't Ronda Rousey versus Liz Carmouche, didn't get that kind of attention. But I understand that you were tracking fairly well on the show, right? So is Amanda become a draw herself, or do you think that it's just the fact that the sport has become, during the pandemic, the attraction?
Tonight was a very big night. The kids that are fighting right now, especially when you're a champion and you're reaping the pay-per-view benefits, are doing very well. This is the only game in town. And when I say that, I mean on the planet. And we're a global business. So, yeah, these kids that they get a piece of the pay-per-view are doing very well.
Mr. White, this is my first time back since the pandemic, so I haven't had a chance to ask you. When everything got crazy, it was, okay, this fight's happening, now it's not happening, now it's going to happen at Apex. Next thing you know, Nevada says, we're not doing it. So Florida, you had success there. All of a sudden, Nevada had a change of tune. What exactly happened there to allow them to bring y'all back?
Well, it wasn't, I wouldn't say that it's that they changed their tune. Things started opening up again, I mean, You can drive down the street and go to the casino right now, play cards, go to a bar, go to a restaurant. You know, it all started to open up again. But again, it was all part of being first. We were first. So there was a lot of pressure on us being first to pull everything off the right way, because nobody knew what the right way was. You know? So I'm telling you guys, if I could tell you guys, you know, you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it. But we're doing it. It's going. It's moving. We're working. We're doing it.
One of the biggest, I guess, positive takeaways that we can get from this whole pandemic is that in every industry, and especially like you said, we're blazing a new trail. We're learning that we can do things that we didn't know that we could do them that way, and it's going to change how we do business in the future, I think. When you brought us here to the Apex the first time, you talked about putting on a lot of fights here, and this pandemic kind of forced that hand in a way.
Yeah, this isn't what I had planned, but yeah, it worked out. It definitely worked out.
So yeah,
and one of the questions that you're asking about these other sports, it's 100% safe for these other sports to go right now, but they can't go. They can't go because I don't sit up here and cry about the financial side of this. That's not your problem. It's not the fighter's problem. All these other sports are trying to negotiate deals with their athletes right now to take less money, right? Because what happens is you're going into these, you know, let's say this isn't true, but I'm just saying, I'm using an example. The Denver Broncos, okay? The Denver Broncos are like, wait a minute, we're going to put on an event that's going to go on TV, but we lose our live gate, our attendance, right? We lose concessions and we lose parking. It's a massive number to these teams, right? It's like college football. You're going to put on a college football game where some of these teams sell 125,000 tickets to a game. Some do 80, 90,000 tickets to a game. That's why they're not starting. That's why they're not going, because the financial burden is tough. I haven't taken $1 from one employee or one athlete. I haven't asked anybody to renegotiate their contracts. So, you know.
Well, and just one thing I'll say, and I'm not just saying this because you're in front of me. It's genuine. The general public doesn't really get to see behind the scenes, and I will tell you, I'm very impressed with the standards you guys have in place. I see all the hard work that you and your staff have done, and it doesn't go unnoticed. I know you've been pretty frustrated, and you vocalized that a few days ago about some of the people who are, you know, the detractors and the naysayers. You know, you guys are doing great.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It means a lot.
You've taken a tremendous amount of backlash just to try to run your business since trying to get back into this. But you mentioned that you have so many people gunning for you. Could you elaborate on that? Is it politicians, regulatory bodies? What?
Name it. Name it. All the nuts are out. They're all coming after us, man. It's crazy. Yeah. Name it, and they've come.
What would you say is the number one, besides the pandemic in general, the number one thing that's been the toughest hurdle for you?
Being first. You know why none of those other leagues could be first? Because they couldn't handle the bullets. The PGA was going to go, I think that weekend when everything shut down, and they got annihilated. They couldn't take the pressure that they were getting. And then once that all starts to go, it just starts to pile up, and you just have the nuttiest of the nuts coming after you. And it takes a certain type of person to stay in there and keep going. And we're like I said earlier, we're 5 fights in, and it's still crazy, man. Still crazy, and a lot of people did not want this to happen. A lot of people did not want this to happen.
Why do you think that is?
It's like, that's what, like Kevin trying to ask me, why is this going on? Why are these people doing this? I can't tell you why. I think that's part of the thing too right now. A lot of people are confused. A lot of people are angry and scared, and whatever their thing is. There's a lot of that going on right now, and believe me, I hate to be, Mr. Negative, but I don't even think, I don't think the worst is still yet to come. The worst is still yet to come. You're going to see a lot more people in this country getting laid off. If you just look at the financial situation, being off for 3.5 months, right? And you look at the stock market, and you're like, does that make sense, right? There's going to be a huge domino effect. It's going to start with layoffs, bankruptcies, then it's going to hit the real estate, and God knows what else. And this COVID, who the hell knows what's going to go on with that thing. And so these are, you know, you see these commercials. These are very uncertain times. Yeah, you think? Who knows, man? I'm just digging in. I haven't laid off any of my people. I'm trying to take care of all my people, including the fighters, keep them working. And, you know, I'm doing everything in my power to do what I can do. And anybody that, listen, you guys have known me for a long time. Anybody that doesn't want to roll with me, get the off the bus. Get out of here. See you later. Do whatever you want to do. Nobody is making anybody do anything.
When you have these fighters lining up saying, we need...
There you go. If you don't want to roll with me, get that out, I guess, right? Hey, he's standing up for what he believes in here with what he's built with UFC, and it's an absolute monster. And UFC delivering week in and week out for sports fans as we continue to crave more live sports. And what a fight card we had on Saturday night, UFC 250 in Vegas at the Apex there in Las Vegas. Amanda Nunes continues to prove she's one of the greatest fighters of all time. She defeats Felicia Spencer, retaining her featherweight title, two-division champ. Cody Garbrandt, knockout buzzer beater. Aljamain Sterling, first round submission. Neil Magny wins via decision. Then Sean O'Malley, also another bantamweight fight, wins with a walk-off via knockout, beating Eddie Wineland. Hey, stick and stay here with CBS Sports HQ. Much more top of the hour as we talk more about Conor McGregor and his announcement to retire from UFC.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.